Maria thought watching a man die would be the worst thing she'd ever do. She was wrong. Because 3 days later, Kim Ji-woo didn't just come for them, he came for Leo. And when a rival mafia boss kidnaps your child, you don't call the police. You don't negotiate. You become something more terrifying than the monsters hunting you. This is the final chapter, the last war. And when the dust settles, only one question remains. How far will a mother go to save her son? The call came at 3 a.m. Maria jolted awake, heart already racing before her mind caught up. Min-jae was standing in her doorway, phone pressed to his ear, his face the colour of ash. She knew. Before he spoke, before he moved, she knew. Leo. The word fell out of her mouth like a prayer, like a curse, like the last breath before drowning Min-jae's eyes met hers, and she saw her worst nightmare reflected there. He's gone. The world tilted, stopped, rewound, gone. The word didn't make sense. Leo had been sleeping in the next room. She'd checked on him at midnight, watched his small chest rise and fall, kissed his forehead. He'd been there, safe. Real. What do you mean, gone? Her voice came from somewhere far away. Someone took him. Min-jae's jaw was clenched so tight she could see the muscle jumping 30 minutes ago, while we were sleeping. They got past security, past the alarms, past everything. His hand was shaking. They took our son, Maria. She was moving before conscious thought, running to Leo's room. The bed was empty, covers thrown back. His stuffed elephant, the one he never slept without, was on the floor. And on the pillow, weighted down with a knife, was a photograph. Leo. Unconscious. Zip-tied in the back of a van. Maria's scream tore through the house like something dying. Min-jae caught her before she hit the ground, his arms the only thing keeping her from shattering into 1,000 pieces. "We'll get him back," he was saying over and over. "We'll get him back, I promise, we'll—" How? The word came out broken. How did they get past everything? "You said we were safe, you said—" "I know." His voice cracked. "I know what I said, and I was wrong. But Maria, I swear to you, I will burn this entire city down to get him back. I will—" His phone buzzed. A video message. Unknown number. Min-jae's hand trembled as he opened it. The video was dark, grainy, but clear enough. Leo, awake now, crying, tied to a chair in what looked like an abandoned building. And, standing behind him, hand resting almost gently on Leo's small shoulder, was Kim Ji-woo Kang Min-jae. Ji-woo's voice was smooth, cultured, completely devoid of emotion. "By now you've discovered your loss. I want you to understand something. This child is not leverage. He's not a bargaining chip. He's a message." Ji-woo's hand tightened on Leo's shoulder and the boy whimpered. "You took something from me 5 years ago, my brother. You put a bullet in his head and dumped him in the Han River. Did you think I'd forget? Did you think there wouldn't be a reckoning?" Maria felt ice flood her veins. Min-jae had killed Ji-woo's brother. This wasn't about territory or power or business. This was revenge. Pure, simple, absolute revenge. "I'm going to keep your son alive for exactly 72 hours, Ji-woo continued, "long enough for you to feel what I felt. The helplessness, the rage, the knowledge that someone you love is suffering and there's nothing you can do to stop it." He leaned down, his face next to Leo's. "And then I'm going to kill him, slowly. And I'm going to send you pieces until there's nothing left to send." The video ended. Maria made a sound that wasn't quite human. Min-jae was already moving, phone to his ear, barking orders in rapid Korean. "Track that number. Find the location. Get everyone. I don't care if they're sleeping, eating, dying. Everyone mobilizes now. And someone find me, Park Ji-hoon. I don't care that he retired. I don't care that he's in Busan. Get him here in 2 hours, or I'll burn his house down myself." He turned to Maria and she saw it then. Not the controlled mafia boss, but the terrified father beneath. "Get dressed. Combat clothes. Dark colours. We leave in 20 minutes. Where are we going?" "To get our son back." His eyes were black with fury. "And to kill everyone who touched him." 20 minutes later, Maria stood in Min-jae's arsenal room, wearing tactical pants and a black shirt, staring at more weapons than she'd ever seen. Outside of movies, Min-jae was loading magazines with mechanical precision, his movements sharp and violent. "You don't have to come," he said without looking up. "You can stay here. Wait for news." "That's my baby," Maria's voice was steel. "If you think I'm sitting here while he's out there scared and hurt and calling for me, you don't know me at all. You've never killed anyone." "Then tonight I learn." He looked at her then, really looked, and something passed between them. An understanding, a recognition. They were the same now, she and this monster, both parents, both willing to do anything, become anything, sacrifice anything to save their child. "Okay." He held out a handgun. "Safety's here. Point and shoot, don't think, don't hesitate. These men took our son. They don't deserve mercy." Maria took the gun. It was heavier than she expected, colder. She thought about Leo's face, his smile, the way he called her mama in Igbo when he was sleepy. She thought about Jiwoo's hand on his shoulder and felt something in her chest turn to ice. "Teach me," she said. The next 15 minutes, Min-jae taught her how to kill. The team assembled in the living room looked like something from a war movie, 12 men. All armed, all wearing expressions of cold fury. Jin-ho was there despite his injuries, his scarred face set in grim determination, and in the center of them all was an older man Maria didn't recognize. Park Ji-hoon, apparently, legendary even by their standards. The video was sent from a burner phone, but we traced the cell tower ping to the Gangbuk district, Ji-hoon was saying, pointing to a map. "Old industrial area, lots of abandoned buildings. Jiwoo's been buying properties there through shell companies for months. We've narrowed it down to 3 possible locations." "We hit all 3 simultaneously," Min-jae said. 3 teams, 4 men each. Ji-hoon leads Team 1, Jin-ho leads Team 2. I lead Team 3. "And her," Jin-ho jerked his chin at Maria. "She's with me." Min-jae's tone left no room for argument. "Anyone has a problem with that, speak now." Silence. These men had seen what Maria had become. They understood. "Teams move out in 5 minutes, Min-jae continued. "Rules of engagement are simple. Anyone who isn't us, anyone who tries to stop us, anyone who so much as looks at you wrong, you put them down, no prisoners, no witnesses. We get Leo and we burn everything else to ash." Understood? A chorus of affirmatives. Maria felt her hands start to shake and forced them still. Leo. Focus on Leo. Everything else was noise. They drove in convoy, 3 black vans cutting through Seoul's pre-dawn streets like sharks through dark water. Maria sat beside Min-jae, the gun heavy in her lap, her mind running through worst-case scenarios that got progressively more horrifying. What if they were too late? What if Jiwoo had already hurt him? What if Leo was... No, she couldn't think that. Couldn't let that possibility exist. "He's alive," Min-jae's voice cut through her spiral. "Jiwoo said 72 hours. It's been less than 3. He's alive, Maria." "How can you be sure?" "Because Jiwoo wants me to suffer, and I can't suffer if Leo's already dead." His hands tightened on the steering wheel. "He'll keep him alive to make the message last longer. Which gives us time." Time. Such a small word for something so precious. Every second was a second Leo was alone and scared. Every minute was a minute too long. The industrial district was exactly as Ji-hoon had described. Abandoned warehouses, broken windows, the smell of rust and decay. Min-jae's team peeled off toward a building on the left. Jin-ho's took the center. Min-jae headed right, Maria and 3 others following. "Infrared shows 6 heat signatures inside," one of the men whispered, checking a handheld scanner. "Second floor. 2 guards at the entrance, 4 clustered in what looks like a central room." "The 4 could be 3 guards and Leo," Min-jae said. "We go in quiet. Take the entrance guards silently. Then we breach the room fast and loud. Maria, you stay behind me until I give the all clear." "Understood." She nodded, not trusting her voice. They moved like shadows through the broken doorway. The two guards never saw them coming. One moment they were alive, the next they weren't. Their bodies lowered silently to the ground by Min Jae's men. Maria felt nothing looking at them. No horror, no guilt, just cold calculation. 2 fewer obstacles between her and her son. The stairs were treacherous, creaking metal that announced every step, but they made it to the second-floor landing, and there, ahead, was a door with light bleeding through the cracks, and from inside, a sound that made Maria's heart stop. Leo, crying, calling for his mama. Min Jae's hand shot out, stopping her from charging forward. "Wait," he mouthed, "on my signal." But Maria wasn't waiting. Not anymore. That was her baby in there, crying for her, and she'd already waited 3 hours too long. She shouldered past Min Jae and kicked the door. It exploded inward and everything happened at once. The room. 4 men. Leo in the center, tied to a chair, his face streaked with tears. Maria's vision tunneled, focused on nothing except her son. She was raising the gun, finger on the trigger, when someone grabbed her from behind. Gunfire, shouting. Min Jae and his men pouring into the room, weapons raised. The man holding Maria went down with a bullet in his skull. Another fell a third. The 4th tried to use Leo as a shield, and that was his last mistake. Min Jae put 3 rounds through his chest before he could blink, and then silence. Maria was running before the bodies hit the floor, crashing to her knees in front of Leo, her hands shaking so badly she could barely work the zip ties. "Baby, baby, I'm here, Mama's here, you're okay, you're—" Leo threw himself into her arms, sobbing, his small body trembling violently. "Mama, I was so scared. They said you weren't coming. They said—" "I'm here, I've got you. You're safe now." She buried her face in his hair, breathing him in, her own tears mixing with his. "I've got you, NYM. I've got you." Min Jae was beside them, his hand on Leo's back, his expression something Maria had never seen before, pure, undiluted relief. "Hey, brave boy," he said softly. "Hey, it's okay. You're safe now." Leo looked up at him through tears. "Are you my daddy?" The question hit like a physical blow. Min Jae's eyes found Maria's, asking permission. She nodded. "Yeah." Min Jae's voice cracked. "Yeah, buddy. I'm your daddy. The men said you wouldn't come for me, that nobody wanted me. They lied." Min Jae pulled Leo and Maria both into his arms, the 3 of them kneeling on the floor of a room full of bodies. "We came for you. We'll always come for you. Always." But Maria's relief was short-lived. Because Leo was here, but Jiwoo wasn't. This had been too easy. 4 guards and no sign of the man who'd orchestrated all of it. She looked at Min Jae and saw the same realization dawn on his face. It's a trap. The explosion rocked the building. Not here. Somewhere below. The entire structure groaned, metal screaming against metal. Min Jae was already moving, Leo in his arms shouting orders, "Out! Everyone out now!" They ran, down the stairs, through the collapsing corridor, debris raining down around them. One of Min Jae's men went down, crushed by falling concrete. No time to stop. No time for anything except forward, always forward, Leo's crying echoing off the walls. They burst out into the open air as the building collapsed behind them, a thunderous roar of destruction. Maria's lungs were burning, her legs shaking, but Leo was alive. 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 And that was all that mattered. Until she saw him. Kim Ji-woo standing across the street, flanked by a dozen armed men. He was smiling. "Did you really think it would be that easy?" His voice carried across the distance. "Did you think I'd just leave him there for you to find? This isn't about the child, Min Jae. This is about making you feel powerless. This is about—" The shot came from nowhere. Jiwoo's head snapped back, a red flower blooming on his forehead. He dropped like a puppet with cut strings. His men scattered, confusion and panic, and then more shots. A symphony of violence as Jin-ho's and Ji-hoon's teams opened fire from concealed positions, a crossfire. They'd been waiting, planning, using Maria and Min Jae as bait to draw Ji-woo out. It was over in 90 seconds. Ji-woo's men dead or fleeing, the threat neutralized. 3 years of running, 3 days of terror. 90 seconds to end it. Min-jae turned to Ji-hoon, who was lowering a sniper rifle. You knew? Of course I knew. The old man's smile was grim. Did you think I'd let you walk into a trap without insurance? I've been doing this longer than you've been alive, boy. Maria sank to the ground, Leo still clutched in her arms, and let the tears come. It was over. Finally, impossibly, it was over. Leo was safe. They were all safe. The nightmare was... Mama, don't cry. Leo's small hand touched her face. It's okay. The bad men are gone. I know, baby. I know. She kissed his forehead, his cheeks, his nose, anywhere she could reach. I'm just so happy you're safe. Min-jae knelt beside them, his hand finding the back of Maria's neck. Let's go home, he said quietly. Let's go home and never leave again. Home. The word sounded like a promise. 3 weeks later, Maria stood in the kitchen of Min-jae's house, teaching Leo how to make puff-puff, the Nigerian donuts her grandmother had taught her. Flour dusted Leo's nose, oil sizzled in the pan. The afternoon sun streamed through the windows, painting everything gold. Like this, Mama? Leo held up a misshapen ball of dough. Perfect. NWAM. Perfect. She dropped it in the oil and watched it puff up, golden and beautiful. Your great-grandmother would be proud. Min-jae appeared in the doorway, wearing jeans and a simple t-shirt, looking more relaxed than she'd ever seen him. The past 3 weeks had been transformation. After Jiwoo's death, Min-jae had made changes, big ones. He'd started transferring his legitimate businesses to trusted managers, slowly extracting himself from the daily violence. He'd never be completely clean. Men like him never were. But he was trying. For Leo. For her. For them. Smells good, he said, moving to stand beside her. It's puff-puff. Nigerian fried dough. Leo's learning his culture. She glanced at him. Both of them. Because that was the other change. Leo was learning Korean from his father and Igbo from his mother. Learning to navigate between both worlds, both identities. Building something new from the broken pieces of their past. Daddy, try one. Leo held up a golden puff, his face bright with pride. Daddy. The word still made Min-jae's eyes go soft. Best thing I've ever tasted, he said seriously, even though it was half raw in the middle. Leo beamed. Later, after Leo was asleep and the house was quiet, Maria and Min-jae sat on the back porch, watching the Seoul night. The city glittered below them, beautiful and dangerous and alive. I never thought we'd get here, Maria said quietly. 3 years ago, I ran because I thought you were the danger. Thought I was protecting him from you. You were right to run. Min-jae's hand found hers. I was the danger. I still am, in a lot of ways. But I'm trying to be better. For him, for you. I know. She squeezed his hand. I see it every day. Do you... He paused, choosing his words carefully. Do you think you could ever forgive me for what I am, what I've done, the world I brought you into? Maria thought about the warehouse, the execution she'd witnessed, the night she'd learned to hold a gun, the terror of Leo's kidnapping, the blood and the violence and the impossible choices. She thought about all of it, weighed it against this moment. Leo safe and sleeping, Min-jae trying to be better, the three of them building something real from the wreckage. I don't know if forgiveness is the right word, she said finally, but I know that I understand now. I know that your world isn't black and white, and I know that despite everything, despite all the reasons I should run again, I'm choosing to stay. Not because I have to, but because I want to. He turned to look at her, something vulnerable in his eyes. Why? Because Leo deserves to know his father, because you're trying to be better. And because... She paused, surprised by her own truth. Because somewhere between the terror and the violence and the impossible choices, I fell in love with you again. Not the version I loved 4 years ago. This version. The one who built a nursery and waited. The one who almost died protecting us. the one who's reading bedtime stories in broken Igbo because he wants Leo to know both his cultures. Maria, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, she cut him off. I'm not saying I won't have nightmares or doubts or moments where I question everything. But I'm saying I'm choosing this, choosing you, choosing us. Minjae's kiss was soft, tentative, nothing like the passionate intensity of their first time around. This was different, slower, built on truth instead of illusion, on scars instead of perfection. I love you, he whispered against her lips. I never stopped. Even when you were gone, even when I thought I'd never see you again. I loved you. I know. She smiled and it felt real, genuine, the first uncomplicated smile she'd worn in 3 years. I know. Inside the house, Leo stirred in his sleep, probably dreaming of Puff Puff and playgrounds and the complicated, beautiful family he was building. A Nigerian mother who'd learned to hold a gun, a Korean father who was learning to make donuts, a little boy caught between 2 worlds and somehow belonging perfectly to both. It wasn't a fairy tale ending. There was still danger out there, still threats, still the shadow of Minjae's world lurking at the edges of their happiness. But for tonight, for this moment, they were safe. They were together. They were home. And that was enough. You know what the funny thing is? Maria said, leaning her head on Minjae's shoulder. What? 3 years ago, I ran because I thought your world would destroy Leo, turn him into something hard and violent. But watching you teach him to be gentle, to be kind, to understand both his cultures. She paused, her throat tight with emotion. You're teaching him that strength and softness can exist together, that he can be brave without being cruel, that he can navigate both our worlds without losing himself in either one. I'm terrified I'll mess it up, Minjae admitted, that I'll break him somehow, make him into something he shouldn't be. Then we'll fix him together, Maria squeezed his hand. That's what parents do. We mess up and we fix it and we try again together. The word felt like a benediction, like a promise, like coming home after 3 years of running. The Seoul night stretched out before them, full of possibility and danger and hope. Somewhere in the city, men were making deals and breaking laws and building empires that would inevitably crumble. But here, on this porch, in this moment, Maria Okafor and Kang Minjae were just 2 parents trying to figure out how to raise a child between 2 worlds. And for the first time in 3 years, Maria believed they might actually succeed. Inside, Leo dreamed of his mama's laughter and his daddy's bedtime stories and the perfect golden puff puff they'd make tomorrow. He dreamed in both Igbo and Korean, his subconscious already building the bridge between his 2 worlds. He dreamed of family. And when morning came, when the Seoul sun painted their house in shades of gold and new beginnings, Leo would wake up to find both his parents there. Together. Finally. Impossibly, completely. Not a perfect family, but their family, built from secrets and violence and impossible love, stronger for the breaking, more beautiful for the scars. 3 years ago, Maria had run to protect her son from a monster. Now she understood. The monster had always been capable of love. The Mafia boss was also a father learning to make Nigerian donuts. The dangerous man was also the gentle voice reading bedtime stories, and she, the woman who'd run so far to protect her son, had learned that sometimes the greatest protection wasn't distance. It was standing beside the monster and teaching him how to be human. That morning they woke to Leo's laughter echoing through the house. They made breakfast together, jollof rice from Maria's heritage and kimchi from Minjae's, Leo happily eating both. They were building something new, something that didn't exist in either of their worlds before, but belonged perfectly to both. And when Leo looked up at them with his father's eyes and his mother's smile and asked, "Can we make more puff puff today?" They both said yes, because this was their family now. Complicated, dangerous, imperfect, beautiful. And for the first time in 3 years, Maria felt something she thought she'd lost: forever hope. Not for a perfect future, but for a real one, where her son could grow up knowing both sides of himself, where a Nigerian mother and a Korean mafia boss could build something genuine from the wreckage of their past, where love was messy and complicated and hard-won but real. So real. The war was over, the running was done, the hiding had ended, and in its place was something Maria never expected to find: a family, broken and rebuilt, scarred but stronger, standing together against whatever came next. "I love you both," she said, pulling Leo close while Minjae wrapped his arms around them both, "so much." "Love you too, Mama," Leo mumbled through a mouthful of rice. "We love you," Minjae added, his voice thick with emotion. And in that moment, in that kitchen filled with the smell of two cultures cooking together, Maria finally understood what home really meant. Not a place, not safety, not the absence of danger, but this. The three of them together building something new from broken pieces, learning, growing, becoming more than the sum of their scars. This was home, and she was finally impossibly beautifully home.